With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome in to another exciting week of action of the Open Wheel Series here live on RaceSpotTV. It is another week of the Precision Racing League. We'll start tonight with the Formula D Series here live at Suzuka. Welcome in. I'm Derek Watson, joined by Dylan Coyle. Dylan, we're in for another exciting night, of Open Wheel action.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun with the PRL Formula D and Formula C series. We're at Suzuka for Formula D action, racing some of the F4 cars on the iRacing service right now, and then we'll switch things up and get to Aragon later on. I think it will be the first time any series in PRL gets to Aragon. I might be wrong there. I don't know. Sometimes I'm wrong a lot, Derek.
That's all right. We'll do it. But let's look at the schedule we've done so far in the Formula D series. So, of course, we started off with the schedule you see here with Zandvoort and then Lime Rock last week, Suzuka this week. Next week, we're at the boot of Watkins Glen, the most used paid track in iRacing. Then we'll finish off at Spa, Nürburgring, Summit Point, and Silverstone as your final races. Well, let's take a look and see how the points are shaping out here for the Formula D. This will be the last week before the drop weeks kick in, Dylan. And right now, Andrew Moran has a somewhat comfortable lead in this system. Lead over Jake Vasconcelos. Then is Jake Faulkner behind him. Michael Diaz, Michael Dowden, and then Tristan Callahan up at P6. And then Brandon Walter, Shane Duhamel, Eric Evans, and Clay Harris round out your top 10. And then, Dylan, take us through the team points.
Yeah, team points wise, Motorsports at 418. I don't think there's any competition by the end of the season when it comes to who's going to win with these team standings. VHR Racing, though, a fairly solid lead for second through the first 4 races of this 10-race season 4. Everybody else behind, though, really close battles for that final podium spot, the end of the year. Eagle Vision Racing White, divided by Zero Motorsports Yellow, and Precision Racing Esports separated by just 9 points from third back to fifth. Lots of fun action going on all around, not just with the drivers, but with the team standings, Derek.
Yep, lots of racing still to happen. Sometimes the lead may not be in close, but maybe other parts are. Well, before we get into the races tonight, I want to take a moment and go ahead and thank our sponsors for the evening. We'll start out with Advanced Sim Racing, owned and operated by passionate sim racers. Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Now, all PRL members will also get a 5% discount code using Precision5 on all ASR products. Next up is Racebox Sim Racing. Racebox offers mid and high-end button boxes for any sim racing enthusiast. From the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver out there, these products are competitively priced and carefully handcrafted. Our button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit raceboxsimracing.com and get a 5% discount code using Precision5 as a coupon code. Next up is the Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products add incredible immersion and realism to every game you play. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Then we have Moradness. Moradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. For more information, visit moradness.com. And then last but not least, Dylan, is my personal favorite, Mr. Hedge Sim Racing Photography. You can capture your finest, proudest, or simply, your worst moments from your hobby in up to 8K resolution. It's a great addition to any sim room, so go check out Mr. Hedge Sim Racing Photography. Well, here we are. Let's go ahead and check. And qualifying is underway. I'd say right now we have some time left about.
Oh, it's definitely an intimidating moment there when you are kind of sandwiched in between teammates. You know, there are times, and I've seen them at this racetrack itself, not in the PRL, but in other series where teammates will team together. They see a driver in behind trying to strategy, right? Trying to take tires when maybe tires aren't needed to be taken. And instead of fighting each other, they say, you know what? Let's just let this go. Let's simmer it down until there's 2 laps to go when we know the advantage cannot be overcome. And look at that. Justin Delano cannot defend against Jake Vasconcelos, one of the teammates we were talking about, but a big run coming out of the final corner down this straightaway, side by side between one of the 3 teammates in this top 7 battle, and then Delano.
Yep, they're going to come back down into turn number 1 here, and Vasconcelos will have the advantage. Now let's look back on screen here. We'll see some tight battles still happening on screen here, and we're going to get it moving on. We'll get a car off track. We'll get a report in a moment who that was. I think that's Brett Accord. That's what I thought it was. Yeah. So he got it saved pretty quickly, though, and got it turned back around. Good job by Brett Accord.
Yeah, that was a big move right there from Accord to get back on without it being detrimental to anybody else's race. It's so easy and so tempting to get back onto track quickly. And sometimes you can't get back on track quickly without causing an even bigger problem. But if we continue watching the top 7 do battle, they're kind of sitting under a blanket right now. Justin Delano, the last in this train. You can call Delano the caboose, I guess you could say. But this is going to be fun. And hey, Andrew Moran sets the fastest lap at a 2-minute flat, 6:85. We appreciate you all sticking with us through these technical difficulties. You can see the race broadcast now. We've got the leaderboard. There you go. It's looking good. We're looking great.
There you go. So yeah, as you said, and as we talked about in the qualifying part of the broadcast, there's bonus points here in PRL. And there's one for qualifying. There's one for fastest lap. So although Moran did not get the Q lap bonus point tonight, if he can hold on to fastest lap, that'll help secure that lead he has over the field. There's not a lot of points right now. Now with the drop weeks included next week, the points will probably look vastly different here. But look at this great battle. This is Diaz, Arvelo, and Faulkner, 1, 2, and 3 as they're coming around here through the final portions of the track.
Yeah, and you can see the draft effect taking hold right in behind the leader, Michael Diaz. Faulkner not close enough to make a move on Arvelo. He's going to just sit back and stay in his wake. You can tell that because these cars are very dependent on, well, I usually wouldn't say this about a Formula 4 car, but in the PRL Formula D series, it's so weird seeing these cars dependent on some aero slipstream. You just don't see it. You don't see them get to speeds high enough. But down the main straight in Suzuka, the fact that it's going downhill, that helps a lot, I think, for making the slipstream sometimes a little bit more important than before. Oh, we've got a car off into the gravel trap. That's Dave Peterson, Derek.
It is Peterson having a rough night here. Well, he was down 5 spots, as you saw indicated on the screen there, but I'm sure that number will grow a little bit here as we go on. About 25 minutes left in this race. We're about 10 minutes in, or almost 10 minutes in, I should say. And of course, pit stops are still coming. Here's a great pass there. That's a nice pass there. That very tight corner right there. Now we're about to head the leaders at least up through turns 12 and 13. And we'll wait and see what happens here. This is a great side-by-side battle here. That car, what do you call that, Dylan? Is that seafoam green? Is that aqua blue?
I love that. I love that. I love that. Seafoam green. That's a great description of what that vehicle looks like for Mark File. It looks good, doesn't it? You don't always see those colors show up in racing, but it's a good looking scheme he's got going on for this Formula D PRL series. 25 minutes left to go. You know, it's kind of funny. He's chasing a driver who's got a little bit of seafoam green in the side pods.
He does, yeah. Also on the back wing, I saw it as it went by. Now let's take a look at Clay Harris back here in P12. Look at this tight battle here. this beautiful onboard shot. He's going to, I suspect, try to ride. No, he's not. I thought he would have tried to ride behind to save some fuel here. But no, he is full bore on the left side of the track, and he will not have the advantage heading into turn 1 as they go side by side here. This is Clay Harris and that Brett Accord. Those are teammates.
Yeah, they are fighting for sure right now. And hey, sometimes teammates, they don't always play well. You're allowed to fight. If you're a team owner, you say to them, you can fight, but if it hurts the team as a whole, don't do it. Think about the team first. That's what it's like to be teammates. I mean, listen, I work for a team in NASCAR. Our drivers, when it comes to racing each other hard, but also trying to be fair, sometimes the mindset of a driver comes into play. You want to win. It doesn't matter who is second, who is first, who's behind you, who's in front of you. It doesn't matter. But then you got to say, bring the reins in a little bit. And actually, as I know we're watching a different battle, but that battle ended. Clay Harris overshot a corner and slowed up just a tad. But speaking about teammates...
Yeah, speaking about teammates here, we're back at the front of the field. Michael Diaz currently leads Frankie Arvello, Jake Faulkner, and Andrew Moran. Those are the first 4 cars. And then you see there's the teammates, McPherson and Vasconcelos behind him. I had a chance to talk to Michael Diaz earlier, and Dylan, it was sort of funny. He said, the setup feels decent. I might get a decent result. Well, I know we got 23 minutes left of this race, but might get a decent result is sort of understating the truth right now.
Yeah, maybe that doesn't exactly put you in the most confident of mindsets. You know, it is good to be realistic with expectations, but you never want to say might get a decent result. How about we get a good result? That's what Frankie Arvello is hoping to not let Jake Faulkner do. Down the inside into first turn. You can see Faulkner got a little bit squirrely trying to hug that curb. It unsettled the car, and he had to get right back in line to Arvello. You know who has not been able to scoot away from this battle? It's the leader, Michael Diaz. He's led every lap, but he just hasn't been able to get away.
No, the point you made earlier is pretty valid. There's a couple of long straights here. There's a straight heading, at the start-finish line. And even basically from 13 to 14 at the back half of the track, there's 2 long straights here where drafting does become a very realistic possibility here. So it'll be hard to pull away here. And he may not want to pull away. He might be willing to let up a little bit, and keep with the competition and not burn as much fuel. But we'll take a look here. A little less than 22 minutes, I should say, left on the clock. And then this is now going to be turn 11 right here. They're coming. That's a hard turn right there in 11. This will be turn 12. And this will be a long winding corner here. You see that? Now look, there's a little bit of gap now. Looks like those Yeez Motorsports cars are backing up a little bit. But now they're in turn 13. This will lead us into our next big straightaway here, Dylan. So, a little abuse of the curb there. All right. So if you're a team manager right now with the Yeez Motorsports, are you having them back up and save some fuel, or do you want them to go get the lead, or how are you feeling right now?
I mean, that's a good question. In these races, that is important to think about. It's a 50% fuel limit. So there is a bit of a difference as we head down. Hold on my thought real quick. There's a pass attempt. Faulkner sent it in there and got the move done at the first part of the final chicane. That was bravery on the brakes. Just sent it, and now he's chasing after Michael Diaz. Back to what I was saying. What do you do? I think in this situation with the top 7 all situated as they are, it's not necessarily a bad idea to save fuel, but it's not really a fuel race, right? You're not concerned you're going to make it to the end. You're going to have to pit midway through. I just don't think it's that big of a deal. Yes, it could let you play some cards later you didn't expect to be able to play that you don't know about right now. But at the current point, we don't want to cause ourselves any trouble. We don't want to overheat the tires too quickly. It'll probably be a no-stop kind of race unless someone wants to roll the dice with the strategy. So 20 minutes and change left here. I'm sorry, cutting you off there.
Well, that's just to say, everyone will stop here, I believe, in this race once put fuel in, but we'll wait and see what happens here. We're now going to ride on board for a lap or so here. This is Frankie Arvello, who got passed, as you said, back there a moment ago when Faulkner got around. So beautiful. Like you can see the course here, and just look how wide open this course is. Like, and there's a lot of corners here. Like I said, it's 17 corners. It is over 3 miles in length, or over 5 kilometers in length, depending upon what measurement system you use. But it's a beautiful track here. Of course, this is a track that's used, or was used, in iRacing every year at the end of the year for a special event. We used to do the 8 hours or 10 hours of Suzuka. That's been replaced this year by 8 hours of Fuji coming up in the month of November. But a beautiful track here, and a pretty common one used across the iRacing service.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of the most iconic racetracks internationally. It's so much fun to watch a race from here. It's not always the best when it comes to passing, but you can certainly say that cars can run close here together. A lot of fast-flowing corners, a lot of corners, especially if you talk about Suzuka, you don't mention these 3 corners in particular. The curve, well, I guess you could say the S's are just a bunch of corners in particular, and then spoon curve, and then 130R. Those are some of the most iconic corners in all of racing. They're all at Suzuka. And that's why we've got some great battling going on here. This is a little bit farther back in the entire field, and obviously some good racing to be had all over in this series right now. Potentially a move being set up for a podium spot. There was a mistake, by the way, as Mark File is going side by side. No contact. Clean as it goes. Maybe the switchback comes here up the S's, Derek?
Maybe so. Now we're going to watch on board from Paul Wildridge behind these 2 drivers. I believe that to be Brett Accord in the middle there. I'm trying to confirm that real quickly, but then that was a nice battle. But, you know, despite how many corners there are and how wide this track is, Dylan, one of the things that stands out to me is how few passing opportunities there can be. Basically, you have the turn 1, you know, and then you kind of have the long straightaways. Beyond that, there's not too many other key opportunities, in my opinion, to make good, clean passes here at Suzuka.
Yeah, you kind of have to get the elbows out just a little bit. One of that corner that Wildridge was just coming out of, in my opinion, is one of the
contact.
Elbow,
we got contact.
Elbow. What?
Oh no!
All right.
Just missed the brakes. I don't know what happened there. Like,
so obviously we didn't see any smoke come from Wildridge right there, but it looked like he just finished off the mess. Speaking about elbows getting out right there, that was a wacky looking incident that we haven't gotten the best of looks at yet, but once we do, I think we're gonna have our heads scratching us scratching our heads just a tiny bit more.
Yeah, that was Mark Fowler. That's Clay Harris, by the way, in the blue and yellow. I called him a quarter. That's Clay Harris. And these 2 just missed. Clay Harris has gotten the corner deep, and
he doesn't. That looked like he was aiming.
I don't think he was aiming. I think he just thought I think he was just going to try to use the outer part of the track to turn, or but
then he just went straight. I agreed with you until the last millisecond before it. It just looked like he turned straight. So I don't know. That was a weird looking incident, but we rejoin with this lead battle. I think it's anybody's race here with just 16 minutes and change remaining.
Yep, and so with that, I can say right now that Clay Harris is on pit road right now. Mark File is still running, and Wildridge is on pit road. So of those 3, Mark File got the least amount of damage. I won't say no damage, because I think that's wrong to say, but that was crazy. That was a crazy moment. Well, Michael Diaz has started to open up this lead a little bit. Now almost half a second here over Jake Faulkner. Then Frankie Arvello is in 3rd, and then Andrew Moran back there in P4. I've not seen a notification that he's clicked off a new fastest lap, but as long as he sits back there in P4 behind that draft, it'll be hard for anyone to beat him for fastest lap of this race.
Yeah, the way you get fastest lap at a race track like this, in a race like this, is you give yourself a little bit of a gap so you can utilize that slipstream to its maximum. It's really similar. If you've ever seen or if you've ever tried to race a NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, or Truck Series car at any plate track, Daytona, Talladega, sometimes you give yourself some space so you can then use all that space in between you and the car in front to get a big slipstream and slingshot around. It's the, I guess you could say, the more Americanized terms for it. It's the same basic principle, though. You're going to see some slingshots coming down this front straightaway as we ride on board with Frankie Arvello in that number 28 machine. machine. Remember, started on the pole, had the advantage, lost it immediately, but he's done a really good job at just not panicking too much.
Yeah, it just looks like he didn't get the best launch off when the green lights came on and suffered from that, but he's now trying to run down Faulkner and Diaz here. They're riding on board with Arvello here. He's part of Precision Racing Esports. You know, right now, as it stands, from my memory of the first few weeks and plus tonight, if the race ended like it runs right now, Dylan, this would be the first week that a Yeez Motorsports driver would not be in the top 3. Now, here's some drivers on pit road. This is Brett Accord over there on pit road. And I think we just saw Justin Delano coming off of pit road. We're about halfway through. These should be scheduled stops. So now we're going to wait and see. But, man, Accord is sitting there forever. So maybe that's not scheduled. I'll have to take a look and see what that's about. Because that is a long pit stop for an F4 car. So I might have been wrong in my assumption.
That would be most unfortunate for Brett Accord in that 151 Formula car. He and his teammate just chilling out right there. Remember,
I don't see what would have happened.
Yeah, not quite sure there, but we'll try and keep it updated and see what's going on. Yeah, that's an odd looking one, but
he is finally off pit road.
Weird. That's odd. Certainly weird, but try and get a picture there of what happened. Look at this train right here. 6 drivers could potentially win this race easily.
Well, and 6 drivers still need to think about the undercuts and overcuts of pitting and what's going to happen. Here's Brett Accord. This might be what happened and caused that. Locked it up pretty hard here and got up in the grass. Nice rejoin. I don't know what that would have done to the car to cause... Oh, I bet he's going to go speeding right here. That looks pretty darn fast. That's the line right there. I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to see if we can follow up later after the race and figure it out. But I was thinking speeding. Now, here comes Andrew Moran, by the way, now down. This will be the first of the leaders. He might decide, Dylan, that he doesn't want to be in that draft line anymore. He wants some open air traffic, so he's going to pit first and see if he can perform the undercut.
Yeah, great battle going on right now, too. But I do think that undercut, overcut kind of... decision is going to come sometimes reactionary for one. I always think that the leader kind of has the disadvantage when it comes to a decision like that.
Yeah, and of course, that's the biggest question we all have is, when do you want to pit? Do you want to be in traffic? All those matter. So now what'll matter more than anything is the pit deltas and the pit box time. That can make a big difference as we see, Michael Diaz went wide there out of that corner. That would have been turns 9 right there. Pardon me, I had to take a look for a second. But really wide compared to Jake Faulkner out of that corner.
Yeah, absolutely wide. We'll have to see if Faulkner is able to hold on to this position. You see Arvello just kind of creeping in ever so slightly right here. I know I've said it the entire time, but the poise on Arvello just to not completely fold has been impressive. You expect it out of a driver who qualifies on the pole in this field, but it doesn't always happen, right? Sometimes you kind of lose your head and things collapse very quickly. And another driver I need to give a quick shout out to, Michael Diaz, man. He's led the whole way and he's been fast. It's not like he's just defending. He's been fast. These drivers haven't been able to make a lunge yet. I think Kevin McPherson is about to go into the pits. I'm not sure yet. Everyone is.
And they're all going to come together. That means they're probably just about out of fuel, and it all ran it together. You see that right there in that shot that...
wing fell off.
Oh, wing fell off. Oh, there might have been some contact. We'll take a look and see here. But at your top...
Oh, no.
Top 6 in. Now Tristan Callahan comes in behind him.
Kevin McPherson was run into by his teammate, Jake Vasconcelos, and has no rear wing. That's going to take some more time to get this damage fixed. That might be race over for both drivers, especially if Vasconcelos also has front wing damage.
We'll just take a look to see. The only silver lining, if you want to call it that, Dylan, would be he's on. It was on the pit road. So if there's a time to get your car hurt, I guess it's while you're already there getting your repairs. But you're right, McPherson's going to be here for a while now, so that will take him probably out of the running unless some weird thing happens that I can't describe. Well, back on track Here you can see what I believe now to be a battle for what will eventually be the lead when things cycle back through. In fact, Michael Diaz is still being scored as the leader as this race goes on. That's Andrew Moran in the black and yellow back there in the right there in the center of your screen now.
I hate that corner. The second Deckner corner, because you can get so easily unsettled. You can bottom out by riding that curb. That's kind of the natural line. Okay, here's the replay of McPherson.
The checkup in front of him.
Yeah, so everyone just didn't realize that checkup line was right there. It could have easily been a worse accordion, and it just so happened that two teammates got into each other. Nothing, I don't even think that it's necessarily anybody's fault. It's just, there's nothing you can do. It's like if you're on a highway and everyone starts checking up, and then there's going to be a fender bender somewhere, right? It's just unfortunate that's the two teammates.
It is unfortunate indeed. And so McPherson now will be well down the running order as we update them here. He is back on track, by the way, but will not be involved in the battle here. What that has kind of done, though, between the pit stops and the pit deltas and all the other stuff we want to talk about, it has opened this gap up a little bit. This gap is now about 3. Oh, hold on. We got an off track here. That's Vasconcelos is cutting the course there. That's a Mario Kart style shortcut right there that he tried to take, and that's not going to work. So now we'll put him way back. So now we're basically down to a 3-car fight. I guess you could say maybe Arvello. It's really mean this Diaz, Faulkner, Moran, Arvello. But even Arvello now is well back here after the pit stops.
Yeah, Arvello, that's an unfortunate pit stop for pretty much everyone there. You lose a second or so on your pit in, pit out, and then it's basically race over at this point. Looks like it's a 3-way fight for the lead with just under 8 minutes to go in this Formula D race in the Precision Racing League. Afterwards, it's going to be the halfway point. So, like you said, with having that off week, that drop week, I guess you could say, finally known and realized afterwards, it's really going to help us kind of just understand where everyone is more in this championship fight. Faulkner is under pressure big time.
Yep, earlier I said maybe it was possible that Yeez Motorsports would not be in the podium, and right now Andrew Moran has proven me wrong, as they're now going to come here out of turn 11 into the big sweeping turn 12 here. This will be more than halfway through the course of 17 corners in total. And then this will be turn 12, and they're going to come to a very quick turn 13 right here. And that'll lead us into our next straightaway here with about 7 minutes to go. So the question right now for Moran, I think in his head, Dylan, and maybe you could talk about this, is now what is the goal here? So, oh, hold on, there's the goal, is to make a pass. I was about to say, does he want to be content with the podium or get aggressive? And he's already answered my question.
Yep, that was just a perfect move right there from Andrew Moran to get around Jake Faulkner before even getting into 130R. If you've got a wing in front, maybe it's one of you back off, and then it's both of your faults if you wreck. But nah, he was in front for sure. That was an easy move. You know, who's happy to see that pass be made, at least for the time being, until that 1.2 second gap maybe comes down? It's Diaz. It's getting him out of that slipstream danger zone in behind.
Yeah, the more those guys begin to pass and fight for a spot, they will slow each other down, and they will open that gap. 1.2 seconds is the most that gap has been all night long for Michael Diaz here. And as they now start to get through the S's here, this is turns 3, 4, 5, and 6 right here. Now we're headed up to turn number 7, and that will be through the S's here. Probably 3 more times around here at this track is what we're looking at. We're going to go from one big track to another. We'll head over to Motorland Aragon next for the Formula 3, Formula C cars, but not done here yet. Andrew Moran is trying to close that gap. Right now, Dylan, the times are about equal.
Yeah, times are about equal right now, and I will say 2:10s have come off in the half a lap that we've been going, that Moran has been in second compared to Michael Diaz. It just maybe fell back half a tenth there out of that hairpin, but if he keeps gaining 2 or so tenths a lap, it's not going to be enough. There needs to be big strides, and at the same time, Diaz knows he doesn't have to push to 100%, still got to push 98%, but there's a little bit of breathing room. Don't make a mistake, though.
No mistake indeed. That's exactly correct here. So we'll have to wait and see how this turns out. The question is, can Moran get within the drafting window? But let's go back and look at Vasconcelos for a second. This is going to be getting wide. Oh, he just got the curbs there. Hit up on the curves and got it loose and around. But nice recovery. We've seen that a couple times tonight here. This track has such a big off-track space, Dylan. It's easy to get the car turned around without hitting anything.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of space. However, these Formula Ford cars don't do anything to help themselves when they're racing on a track like this, when we're talking about width. If you put that Mercedes AMG, what is it, W13 and W14 in this service on iRacing onto this track, I think you got a little bit of a wider car and less space. Still, though, Suzuka, especially down that front stretch, is so wide. It isn't the widest through the S's or all of the corners, but this car just kind of makes it wider, if that makes sense.
It does. You know, speaking with the track, you know, there's a lot of tracks in real life racing that have never been touched and never been modified, never been changed. You know, this track has been modified in layouts at least 8 different times since its opening. 8 different layouts of this track have existed over time. That is a massive amount of changes to a single racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we see Eric Evans. Is this a replay or is it live? I think
that is a replay.
Or it's a replay. Okay. Evans currently running in 16th. Looks like he only lost 1 spot throughout that incident. We rejoined some live pictures. Fight going on between, I believe this to be, is this Mark File and Kevin McPherson, who's just made the move on Mark File for 10th place. So this is the first position inside of the top 10. And Mark File and McPherson. Can you see why it would be easy for me to say one name combined with the other? This is the replay of that move. You just kind of go in too deep at one part of the S's, and then you're caught on the outside on the exit of the S's. There's not much you can do there.
No, not much you can do at all. As a note here, Jake Faulkner has really closed in on these two, but right now Andrew Moran has really closed that gap. He is definitely within drafting range, and I think he's just waiting here. They should get the white flag next time. 2 laps to go here at Suzuka, and we're now wide here through turn number 1. There's no passing chance here that is clean right now through the S's. This will be turns 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Back and forth sweeping each way. And then we will come out to turn number 7. That'd be the next chance Moran could think to start to set up a pass again here. But it'll take some time. But he is all over Michael Diaz, who's looking to be a first-time winner of the season at Formula D.
Yeah, Michael Diaz trying to put a little bit of a dent into Andrew Moran's current lead in the championship. But Moran is right there. Jake Faulkner right there. I mean, hey, there might be a 4th competitor right there, Frankie Arvillo, if any of these 3 competitors decide to get those elbows out. Last time I said that, we were here and we saw a 3-car crash on the exit. So who knows what can happen here? There's just maybe another lap after this. I think we're going to go back to another lap. You said that, Derek?
Yeah, they crossed the line with 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Then we should be good.
Is about 2 minutes. So the status bar on the top of your screen will turn to white flag once it is out. But Andrew Moran is plotting and planning to see when he can make that move, if at all. Here they come down the big, long straightaway. This will be between turns 13 and 14. And Moran is getting ever so close to making it happen. And I can't believe he's not poking it out. But, oh, look how close they are here through turn 14. Now they'll come up through 15, 16, and 17 for the penultimate time.
I think the biggest problem is if you do try and get to the side, that's not your space. If you just get a wheel width in there, you kind of, that's not side by side, at least in Formula Racing. Now here we go. They're snaking it all up and down. 1 lap to go here at Suzuka Circuit. It's a 3-way fight for the lead. A dive down to the bottom in the first corner. Oh, he doesn't get the right move. Faulkner tried to go around the outside. Some contact maybe and some squirreliness on the curves.
Yeah, Diaz went ahead with a block on that, so I'll close that door. And you can try again later. So now here we go back to these curving S's for the last time. And I almost wonder if this time, if down that long straightaway, if Moran will back it up a little bit, and if he and Faulkner will work together to make the draft happen. We'll wait and see now as the cars now come out of turn number 7. They're going to attempt to make the pass. See that iconic Ferris wheel in the background. Now they'll head up to turns number 8 and into 9. This is one of the hardest corners right here. And then we'll come out through 10 and 11. This is where we've seen some action before as the night goes on. White flag is out. As Dylan said, they're going to slow it down. And nice job by Diaz to control the pace here.
Yes, and there's just half a lap to go here. Half a lap, and there's 2 famous corners coming up, the spoon curve and then 130R. I think the biggest problem for Diaz is going to be 130R. The question is, how is this run out of spoon? Not good right now for Moran. He almost got overtaken by Faulkner, but it's a really good exit out of spoon. They're going to be side by side by the time we get to 130R, he and Diaz.
Is a possibility. Look how tight he is up on that back of that car. He's now doping to the inside. He's now to the left side, just giving the advantage in the last corner. And here, can they make it stick? They will just barely. That is tight. And here we go. That is now going to put us up through the final corners. And I didn't think it was going to happen, but it looks like as we get to the final corner, hold on, we're not done. Diaz is going to stick the wheel in there and try to get it down to the line. It's touching.
Wow.
But no, Andrew Moran will be your winner at Suzuka.
Unbelievable. Andrew Moran, 4th win of the year, and he waited until almost the last possible moment to do it. Some great blocking, and I'll tell you one thing, Diaz and Moran are talking on the radio. Diaz not happy, thinks that there was some contact between he and Moran. I didn't see any. We see this fight to the end. McLachlan will finish in 9th. Couldn't get that run going. Brian Hotham, he's not going to be able to make it up until 11th. But yeah, a lot of drama seems all over the radio.
Well, listen, we've all been in a car before, and we know sometimes that what we feel happens in a car versus what really happened can be different scenarios. So we'll need to wait and see the replays and make some opinions, there. But what a great race. What an amazing race. And honestly, it picked up at the end and really just, wow, what a great run by Andrew Moran. That was amazing. That undercut didn't make a difference, but it totally still a great run. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at our final results here. Andrew Moran is your winner, and I'll go ahead and point out has the fastest lap as well before I forget. Michael Diaz is in 2nd with Jake Faulkner in 3rd. Frankie Arvello, Jake Vasconcelos, and Tristan Callahan had a very quiet night, but he rounded up in top 6. Justin Delano and Nathan Miller, 7th and 8th, with Owen McLachlan and Kevin McPherson, 9th and 10th, Dylan.
Yeah, Mark Feil will finish 11th. Brian Hotham was just behind him with Jason Arensberg in 13th. Brandon Walter and Dave Peterson 14th, 15th, and Barry Cochran, Matthew Bellevance, Donald Olson, Eric Evans, Brett Accord, your top 20. We continue rolling it down to the end with Christopher Perez, Corey Precker, Clay Harris, Paul Wildridge, Austin Harris, and Tyler Gore, all at least 1 lap down.
All right, well, let's go ahead and hear from our winner. Let's go and pull him in. And once again, for yet another time this season, Andrew Moran, you're in P1.
Yeah, dude, that was an amazing race. Clearly, there was a little disagreement between me and Michael, but I thought it was pretty clean. And it was super fun, dude. So that was awesome.
Maybe in some ways, the hardest we've seen you have to race this season. It wasn't quite the flag to flag or wire to wire race we've seen you have the rest of the season. So at what point were you ever nervous thinking maybe you weren't even going to be a podium?
Yeah, definitely during qualifying. Michael has a small injury, so he couldn't participate tonight, and I couldn't really get a good tow in the quali, so it was definitely tough to get a good start. But luckily I played the fuel game. I did everything right to finish P1.
So in that last couple laps here, where I was thinking you were going to back it up and try to make the drafting run, was that the plan, or were you just going to be all out and just try to make that pass like you did?
Yeah, it was always going to be all out after the pit stop. I was always going all out. I really thought I might have been able to jump all three of them in the pit because I had saved a little bit more fuel from just staying behind. I was just lifting and coasting. But unfortunately, I didn't. And once I was able to get by Jake, he kind of had a mishap on the exit of Spoon, and it was just I knew I could catch him. I had the race pace, and the tire life was important there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you kind of hinted at it. I'm going to ask you one more time. Obviously, you and Michael had a couple words post-race, just a disagreement over the racing. From your perspective, no contact that you're aware of?
Well, there was definitely contact when we came out of the last chicane. He definitely had a run, but even if he made that pass work, he was off track anyways. I mean, he didn't have the run to the line. It didn't matter on the result, but you know, I understand he was saying, I don't know if he said it turned into him or what he was saying, but yeah, it is what it is. We'll have more contact later this season.
I like that you're already planning for the contact. Well, listen, if you don't stop this, we're just gonna have to I guess you're just gonna start sitting in the commentary booth all race long. This way you're here for the interview. Just just change your address.
That's right.
But listen,
I know I'll have to.
You've done a great job this season. Congrats on the win, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. Talk to you guys next week.
All right, that's Andrew Moran. He's your winner. I want to go ahead and transition over, and Dylan's going to catch up with Jake Faulkner, who finished P2.
Yeah, Jake Faulkner with that finish. I mean, it was a wonderful race, and it felt like you were right there the entire time. Just couldn't get over the line. Finished in P3. You had a good look at what was going on between Diaz and Andrew Moran at the end there. Do you feel like you had any shot to maybe, I don't know, try and make a move on that last half lap? It felt like you were just boxed in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I tried to let Andrew by a few laps earlier because I knew he was quicker, and we sort of lost the draft to Michael. So I let him by. I was hoping he would cause a little bit of chaos, but not too much happened. And then it was close to the line, but not close enough. I'm still happy with the P3 though.
Yeah, P3, it's still a solid result, and you get on the podium. Now that pit cycle, it felt like everyone got disconnected there. I'm not sure if you were, majorly affected by this, but it seemed like everyone was kind of locking up heading into that pit entry line where it starts to clock your speeds, and some contact, actually, two teammates made contact there. What was it from your angle?
I was just trying to take it easy. I was in P2, I think, when going into the pits. I was make sure my main goal was not to hit Michael in the back. And then I got a little anxious whenever Frankie got close up behind as well. So yeah, there was definitely some chaos going in, but it felt fine to me.
All right. Well, hey, Jake, who makes it happen for you? Who do you have to thank?
Probably my dad and Driven Performance Products.
Awesome. Well, make sure to always lick the stamp and send it if you got two cars in front of you and they're not playing nice with each other. So,
that was
good job. Yeah, that was the plan. Everyone's got a plan until they're punched in the face, I hear. But Jake Faulkner finishing in P3. Great job, and best of luck next week.
Appreciate it.
All right, Derek.
Cool, that is Jake Faulkner. I said P2 earlier, right? It's P3. Let's talk to P2. Michael Diaz. Now, Michael, before we get to the obvious question, you and I talked earlier pre-race, and you said, I might do decent tonight. You led most of the race. I think that qualifies as decent.
Yeah. I try to save some fuel up front, but with the draft in these cars, it's pretty tough. But P2 podium, not many incidents. I guess that's decent.
I think most people, there's about 20 other guys behind you who would call that a decent run. Now let's talk about the obvious. You had some words with Andrew post-race. Tell me what's on your mind about that.
I mean, they kind of been driving into me all season. Last race I was on me, but the rest, they know what happened. And then today he went for the move. The checking was fine, but then on the run to the finish line, he kind of moved over, and we had some contact. His right rear to my left front that sometimes means him into the wall, and I just want to avoid further incidents with that team. But if they want incidents, we could have incidents all season. I'm good with it.
Well, listen, as I said earlier, a great run tonight. I know you kind of told me you were looking forward to this track. So next week, is the boot. It's Watkins Glen. Do you like the track? Are you looking forward to it?
I won there on Monday, so I kind of like it. But without the chicane, it's probably going to be another draft fest. So we'll see what happens.
There you go. Well, listen, great job tonight, and we appreciate you hanging out.
Yeah, man. Thanks guys for the broadcast. You always do an amazing job, and see you next week, I guess.
Yeah, see you next week, Michael. I'm going to quickly bring in, while we transition over, let's quickly grab Frankie Arvello. Frankie, what a run tonight. That looked exciting for a while.
Yeah, I mean, getting pole was really something unexpected, to be honest with you. I love this track, but I wasn't expecting pole. I thought I was going to have a good run, but my starting was not that good. It wasn't ideal, and the pit stop also killed me. But ever since the draft took off, I couldn't catch up, and unfortunately, yeah. But next time, I'll try to do my best to be on the podium again.
There you go. So I think you said quickly, but I just didn't catch it. What happened to start? Just didn't drop the clutch in time, or what happened to you?
No, I actually was revving too high, and that's why I was doing a little burnout to take off, and it wasn't ideal. So lost momentum there, and everyone almost overtook me there, basically. But yeah.
All right. Well, listen, great run tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
So that is Frankie Arvello. Well, listen, Dylan, we went from one big road course, and now we're going to transition into another big road course. Now the Formula Ds are over, the Formula 4s. Now let's go to Motorland Aragon for the Formula Cs, or F3 cars, as you want to call them. Welcome into Formula C series coverage here on RaceSpotTV. Now, this is a much different track, Dylan. Some people say this track doesn't flow as well as Suzuka. It is mostly used for MotoGP racing right now in real life. But here we are live, and you can see the cars are on track in qualifying as we get going here. But let's look at the schedule we already done. We started at Suzuka here about 3-4 weeks ago. Then we went to Bathurst, Road Atlanta, and the Red Bull Ring. Now Aragon, and then VIR, and then we go to Montreal, and then Sebring, the Belle Isle, and the Watkins Glen Boot will round out this schedule of 10 races. Dylan, walk us through the points battle here that we have on the screen when it pops up here.
Yeah, David Holland with a 27-point advantage over Greg Seitz, and Andrew Hardman another 20 points back of Seitz. So it's starting to feel like it's a two-horse race, just maybe, but there's still time to falter. There's still time to make a mistake, and there's still time for a lot of points to go either way. I'm not putting my eggs in any one basket fully at this point, but that fight for the podium is just like the last time. It's strong, it's hot. Hardman is only up 7 points on Mackenzie Rune. Only 7 points up on Connor Wagner is Rune, and then it even gets tighter from that point on. So anyone can finish on the podium. I just feel like at this point, it's really down to 3 or maybe 4 main drivers who have a shot, or an outside but fairly decent shot at winning this title by the time things are all said and done.
That is true. And we'll take a look at the team points, pardon me. Now, this one's a little bit more lopsided again up at the top. Delta Sport, they've had a great run. They're over 100 points ahead of Evolve Sim Sports. Then SRTE Blue with Rust Racing Iron behind them. And then Atomic Racing, Yellow Stripe Sim Sport, Atomic Geezers, Destina Motorsports, Rust Racing Oxide, and Optic DS will round out your top 10. So let's go and take a look on track and see how things are going. As I said, we're under qualifying here with a few minutes left, and we'll wait and see a few cars there on pit road. About 5, almost 6 minutes left here, Dylan, with currently Connor Wagner up on the pole.
Yeah, and Connor Wagner putting in a very solid lap right now with a 1:55.48. So it's going to be a bit of a quicker track in terms of overall time. But at the end of the day, their pace at both Suzuka in the Formula D cars and Aragon in the Formula C cars, they're relatively similar, which says to me, and exactly what we were talking about, the flow is not as prevalent at Aragon, but honestly, it's very hard for that flow to be anywhere better than going through the S's at Suzuka or anything like that. But nonetheless, this is one of the newer tracks honestly in the entire world that hosts international races, that has that good, I think it's an FIA grade 1 license. Is that correct, or am I speaking non-truth?
I will double check on that in a moment. Let's watch Kevin Sandiego here, as he is currently running at P5 in the service, and we'll wait and see how he does here. Ooh, got a little squirty there through the corners, and probably means he won't set a new lap here. A 151.029 is his best so far.
Yeah, it is grade 1 for sure. So it is one of the newest tracks in the world and on the world circuit. Kevin Sandiego trying to get a good time here. His best is a 151.029. The qualifying currently on the pole, the qualifier who's gotten on pole right now, Wagner, has a half-second advantage. So Sandiego coming through the final corners. Let's see what his time is as he crosses the stripe here. And it might have been almost the exact same, 29 hundredths worse, actually. So or thousandths worse. So he's not going to have a time that compares.
Unfortunately, not right now. But here's David Holland, your current points leader. Currently is trying to set a lap here. A 150.679 is his time. He is trying to run down Connor Wagner. He's about a tenth and a half off of doing so. So wait and see if he can set a faster time here. And we'll have some incredible runs here as you come through the corners here. Now, this is a Tilk track. This is one of the many racetracks designed by the same person. And of course, he's designed Coda and Aragon and many other racetracks around the world. So you can start to see some of that same flow and same corner styles of the racetracks here. But right now, David Holland is trying to make this work here. He just passed a lap by and has already started over. And that last lap was not faster. So right now, the board stays exactly the same.
And remember, once this clock does go down to 0, unlike a lot of iRacing series, this series has let the laps continue. If you're on a flyer when the time runs out, you get to finish that flying lap and keep moving on from there.
Yep. Now, something to note here for veterans of the F3 series who raced last season, this is our second season in a row of racing these cars at Motorland Aragon. So we'll have to wait and see if the veterans maybe can have a small just knowledge advantage here over how the track flows tonight as this goes on. This is a course that has a lot of corners. It has 18 corners, so one more than last time. It is 3.32 miles, so almost identical in length to what we just did at Suzuka.
Yeah, it's almost identical in length. Has that 0.3 of a mile less kind of length, and the times are around 10 seconds shorter, which is what I was kind of saying about the I don't know the exact math, but the fact that it's shorter by a little bit, the fact that the lap times are smaller by a little bit, but we're in cars that should have more power and do have more power and speed and everything that goes with that than a Formula 4 car and Formula D in the PRL means that we should have expected maybe a tad bit faster lap times. But hey, just kind of speaks to the flow of this track and a different kind of challenge, a more technical. Well, that's not fair to say. Suzuka is very technical. All of this race is going to be a new one for, I think, a lot of us here.
Yep. So this is Kevin Sandiego currently coming out of turn 10. Now he'll round out through turn 11 here and hit towards the back end of the course. This will be a very tight turn number 12. See him manage it pretty well. We got a little loose, look like, but that's okay. Turn 13 and then 14 coming up next. Then out of turn 15, Dylan, this is possibly the best passing point of the night. This would be the long straightaway here that leads you down into turn 16. Look how long this is.
It's very long. It's not quite French Grand Prix long when it was when it returned to the parking lot. That I believe is also a Tilk invented track. He has a lot of hits or misses. Some are really good and well-known tracks, and some just we're not the biggest fans of
like Coda.
globally. Yeah, well, I love Coda. I
despise Coda as a driver. No, and of course, and there's many tracks he's a consultant on. He's a consultant on the Vegas track for F1 this year. So while he's not always the lead designer, he has a say in a lot of racetracks.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're dependent upon by a lot of the FIA's major brass, then you kind of get looked upon for advice. which is
hello.
also surprising. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Connor Wagner, he said, I set the fastest lap time. You want to see me do it again? That's what he did.
And it comes to a point here where David Holland will not get another shot at it. So this is Holland's last opportunity to make that lap work. And then, of course, Wagner just kind of went down and slapped a new time on the table and said, take that. So we'll wait and see here. This is going to be David Holland now running down that long straightaway we just talked about. This will be down between, there we go. Sorry. And then that's out of turn one. So he is done. Here's Mackenzie Rune, by the way. And Mackenzie Rune just about here at 1:59.77 was their best time. That's slower. That's almost a half second slower than before.
Robert Ridgway trying to set a faster lap time than what he originally set. He'll be one of the last cars, might be the last driver to set a flyer. Has around 50 more seconds or 40 more seconds to go there. We'll see exactly what he's able to do as this lap continues, this long straightaway right there. Right behind him is Michael Broomhead, so he won't be the last one to set a qualifying time, but Broomhead had a 1:52.09 back in 25th, so he could use some of the speed that Ridgway showed through his first lap, but that was a really wide exit there through turn 16, cutting through 17, now 18. That was last corner. His time, I don't know about this one. Slower.
Yeah, not unfortunately. Well, that's going to wrap up qualifying. So in a moment, let's take a look at the grid, and we'll see how they're going to line up here at Motorland Aragon and see how this race will unfold. Waiting for the grid to pop up on the screen for us here. I don't think there's anyone left on track. Yeah, back there they are. So let's take a look at it. It is gonna be Connor Wagner up on the pole with David Holland in second, and then and then J.R. Williams. We're missing Kevin San Diego on the pole there for some reason. With J.R. Williams, and then Mackenzie Rune and Greg Seitz. There is your top six. Let's go and take a look at P7. As you see, your correct top six there. Let's go move to P7. Mitchell Ian Green with Alex Court in 8. Josh Wachinski in 9th. Julio Palacio, last season's champion, in 10th. And then Joey Haynes and P12 was Robert Ridgway. Mark McDonald and Brett Thurman with Adam Kolsar and Stephen Verity. And then Caleb Lehman and Eric Dubé round out your top 18, Dylan.
Yeah, we continue moving down the field in 19th with Jeff Groff, the Destino Motorsports number 25 machine. Going to be starting alongside Tommy Brisson in the yellow stripe Sim Sport 43 car. Blake Ziti alongside Manuel Vargas. Scott Barton with Takeshi Kita in 24th. Michael Broomhead in 25th, with Richard Swindells in 26th. The last three drivers in this field, Nicholas Cullender, Christian Jasper, and James Carter in the number 70. Just around 30 seconds before we get going here, and in a word, I would say this race will be electrifying.
Electrifying is a good word. I would use busy. I think despite how big this track is in length with all the tight corners, 29 cars will be busy, and now they are busy as the green flag has fallen, and already they are scattering everywhere. Look at that, 3 and 4 wide in the back of this field as we head into turn number 1.
Oh, they're all trying to get around quickly. Oh, there's a big mess in the back. Almost a car that flips over. Might have just been a 2-car incident, but no, they're still piling up in the back. More cars involved, one over top of the other. What a mess.
Yeah, Tommy Brisson, the first car you saw go flying, and there's more cars back there. There'll be a couple replays to look at, but for the moment, we're going to keep our eyes on Connor Wagner. It's Wagner, Holland, and San Diego, 1, 2, and 3. There's another car. That is either Palacio or Williams. I'm waiting to get confirmation on which one that was. That was one of those two teammates, though.
Man, what a mess that
was
first
Palacio.
corner was. Palacio, oh, goodness me. Nonetheless, we're watching and we're following along with the top 5 battle here. Wagner, oh no, 87 around, and he's going to try and get it turned. That was Eric Dube. He's good, though. Came back on track pretty nicely. Wagner leads Holland. Another car goes off track into the tarmac. Get back on track, buddy.
That's J.R. Williams. That's Palacio's teammate. who is now off track and just trying to kind of gather it. Maybe just needs to breathe for a second. A lot of times when a race gets chaotic in the beginning, you kind of get amped up and you get nervous. So just kind of take a second and breathe and you'll be okay. But here we are. Now that single file line has started to form. And in a couple moments, we'll get a couple replays on the RaceSpot replay machine about what happened over there in the first. I mean, honestly, just not even the first corner. Just like the starting grid looked like is where it all began. But we'll wait a moment here. This is now coming out of turns 16 into 17 for most of the field here. And we're just about to complete a lap here at Aragon. And already so much has changed in the top 10.
Yeah, wild start. 45-minute race here, or 23 laps. I suspect we'll get something in the range of about 18 laps, just like the last time at Suzuka. Maybe one more, maybe one less, but nonetheless, still good battling going on here. The top two are teammates, and then we see in back all the midfield come rushing up the hill.
Rushing up the hill. This is Joey Haynes right now with Evolve Sim Sports, running back in 13th. He's down 2 spots from where we started. This is currently turns 6 and 7 right now on track, in case you're new to it. So see him come out here, and now they'll cut off into turns 8, 9, and 10. This is a big wide corner here, Dylan. This one feels like it lost forever.
Yeah, that certainly feels like it goes around forever and ever and ever. And in reality, it doesn't, but what's reality when reality doesn't feel real?
I agree with that.
That's a deep question, man. I didn't even ask.
Yeah, it's already Thursday night and you're pulling out the deep stuff. That's a Monday morning kind of question right there.
That's certainly a Monday morning kind of question. Get into the office, grab a Celsius, wild berry, of course, and then that's the kind of question you ask. But here's the questions being asked by the two leaders. Do they fight?
Oh, they're going to fight. Let me tell you that right now. Like, see, there it is. David Holland's going to get around Connor Wagner. And these guys have fun fighting. We interviewed them together last week, Joe Peak and I did, and they love fighting like that. You know, the one difference right now, it feels like between Formula D and Formula C, the used motorsports drivers have a system worked out of who's going to finish where, and let's not fight. And meanwhile, Delta Sim Sport says, let's have at it, boys. And that's a big difference here. But look at him. And right now, David Holland just set the fastest lap of this race. And he's looking for that extra bonus point.
Well, maybe it's more of a we're not going to try and fight.
Oh, here we go.
Faster,
Yeah.
So it was in the braking zone. Just gotta pay attention if you're someone in the braking zone. Here's a great look at
three
it.
wide up here. Oh, hello.
Just
right up the inside.
Yeah.
And then, of course, oh man, from there, it's just hard to avoid certain things when a wreck happens. Just, lack of visibility and other things happen, and you sort of make contact from there. Now, this is going to be Julio Palacio. It's got spun, it looked like. I'd have to see that again, but. And here's Dubé. He just, tried to avoid the teammate in front of him and had to stab the brakes, and he just sort of looped himself around.
Yeah, that looked more with Eric that it was just kind of a small mistake by himself, but he kept it from
Palacio tried to clear himself.
Yeah, Palacio was not clear. There was very much a car to the outside and ended up spinning on the front wing of that car that he was alongside with. Nonetheless, Alex Court, the Australian/New Zealander. Oh, there's some contact with the wheel. The Oceanic driver getting feisty.
They are feisty back here, and as part of this is right now, it's for P9. This is J.R. Williams right behind him. And J.R. Williams going to now try to get 3 wide here as they're going to come down this straightaway between 15 and 16. Looking to 3 wide. You guys, someone's going to back out because that's not going to work. And who's it going to be?
I don't think anyone wants
one of them backed
out. Yeah. Oh, almost some contact on exit. Squirrely gets it recentered, refired, but lost the position. Might lose another here down this straightaway.
Yeah, that was Alex Court who backed out, thought better of it, but you're right. He almost made contact afterwards. And that's Joshua Chinsky right there. You see in the middle of your screen. That's the other car involved in that 3 wide battle. But now they're back to single file here as we continue going. We're only about 7 minutes in, and it feels like we've had like a whole race worth of action in the first 7 minutes.
Oh, certainly. We've been going pretty much everywhere on this track. Doesn't matter where you go. It feels like you're gonna find some action, whether it's going up the hill, down the hill, going through the straightaway. Something wild's gonna happen.
So I'll tell you, just put this in your head, Dylan. This weekend I get to be a part of an event at this track that will be multi-class with 58 cars, almost double the field of this. I can't imagine how much calamity there will be if I put double the cars on this track.
I don't want to imagine it right now.
Yeah, right?
I think that's my answer.
It'll be an LMDH, LMP3, GT3 field, and I'm a little nervous about what that's going to entail.
I'd be nervous, but also excited because
Excited
there's going to be carnage,
right?
For sure, there's going to be carnage as we're over 8 minutes into this one now. I think it's going to be around lap 20 or lap 10 or so that we'll start to see drivers think about pitting for fuel. Is this the kind of track that they'll want tires at as well? I think not, but maybe. In the past, tires, the time for tires has not proven to pay off. Obviously, this is a much more technical track, many more curves and braking points, but I don't know, man. Look at Alex Court, though, falling behind Chinsky, and Chinsky's just not having it. I don't know what that's about, but Chinsky is not wanting Court to get the draft there. And, oh, man, even off track to try to avoid it. Now we got a new contender in the back there. Who is that? That is going to be... I've lost my spot. Mark McDonald, I believe, behind him. Yeah, couldn't quite see exactly what happened. McDonald, who has gained multiple positions in this race, up 4 right now, is looking to gain some more, joining some more fights here. You know who we haven't talked about a lot? That battle between 5th and 6th. It's not much of a battle at the moment, but those two drivers, Mitch Green as well as Mackenzie Roon, they're fighting for sure right now. Here's the replay. Alex Court, he just got into the back of car in front. Rear wing lost. Front wing potentially damaged. Lost another position there.
Yeah, it's funny. I talked to Mackenzie before the race started. Mackenzie Roon up there in P5 and just said, yeah, here's the quote. You ready? Turn 1 will probably be potential chaos. I think Mackenzie got that right.
I thought there was more to it, but yeah, that's simplistic in nature and true.
Mackenzie also said they love this track. They think it flows well in the F3 car, so looking forward to it. But they also said, as you kind of hinted at, tire management will be important. In the past in the series, we've not seen drivers take tires, so it's hard to believe that tonight will be the night. But these guys are known to surprise me every now and then. But look at this tight battle back here. I mean, this is J.R. Williams on back. So this is 7th on back, I believe, is what we're looking at here. But Chinsky actually 8th on back. There's J.R. Williams in the front. This is Chinsky, McDonald, Alex Court, Robert Widsway is up in there. Stephen Verity's up in this battle or getting close to it. Oh, we got a spinner.
Yeah, it looked like it was one car involved and then another piled in. Couldn't quite see.
Caleb Lehman.
Lehman, yeah, for sure. But this battle rages on. A run on the outside. Look at that dive to the inside. Oh, but picks up the sausage curb. Gets into the left rear. Oh, man. And
that's
that
Alex Court. He just spun around.
It's Court. Joshua Chinsky just apologized, but that's fight in the top 10 for now over.
That's an aggressive move. I
think it was just a mistake, honestly.
Just locked him up right here. Oh, this is going to be, this is Caleb Lehman. Oh, first, who then got plowed into by somebody else afterwards, and that caused Lehman to have to tow and get off the track. Let's see the incident with Court again here. And where is it going to be? Is it up here to the next corner? I believe
right
there's
here.
Chinsky.
Yep.
Man, Chinsky just got a little off course. You're right, and just made a mistake, and then couldn't hold it down there. Those curbs sort of kicked him around, and then he got kicked into Court.
Yeah, nothing Court could do right there, and that's quite unfortunate, but he keeps moving. He'll try to make the most out of his race. We rejoin I wouldn't call this a battle for the lead. These are just 3 drivers right now, all teammates, just having fun out there. Feels like they're just running test laps at the moment. Greg Seitz could get involved in 4th, but We'll have to see if that comes to fruition at all as we watch this battle, the 04 of Steven Verratti and Joey Haynes in the 33 machine, all fighting as they come out of the last couple of corners onto the front stretch to try and make this work.
Yeah, trying to make it work, and for now, pardon me, we're single file, so more likely to make it work than with some of the other moves we've seen in this race. But now we're running it back through about the middle part of the track where the drivers are. Starting to hit about turns 5, 6, 7 right here. This battle on screen right here. This is a good close battle here. And what I noticed here about this track, Dylan, as we're watching Joey Haynes again, is how much it feels like drivers are trying to break the draft here. There's not a lot of, I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but there's not a lot of straight line racing with letting the guy behind you follow. There's a lot of drivers sort of moving offline to break draft here, and I don't know if it's hard to handle with this setup or the setups in these cars, or if that's intentional.
I mean, for me, there's only really two places on this track that you can take real advantage of the slipstream, and one of them so minuscule. I would say that run back up to the start-finish line. It's a short straightaway, but you can get a good run coming out of 16, then that right-hander to 17, and left-hander to 18, because you're on the throttle the whole way through there. But that long straightaway that we're about to see Joey Haynes go on to right now, it is so long between 15 and 16. This is where you really can take advantage of that slipstream. Maybe another portion is coming down the hill, 10, Marc Marquez corner, and to 11 and 12. Maybe you can do something there, but there's not much.
No, not much at all. And as you hinted earlier, this is a fairly new track, including on iRacing. This track has only been available for a couple of seasons now. Now, as I said, we did race here last season, so some of our regulars, you would think Kevin Sandiego or J.R. Williams would be having a benefit from that. But right now, it's David Holland, Connor Wagner, 1-2 with Sandiego in third. Delta SimSport is dominating this race right now. There's the battle, or lack of battle, up front. That's fourth place is Greg Seitz, by the way. He's the first non-Delta SimSport car in the top 5, and they just seem to be out for a Sunday drive, Dylan. They're calm and chill.
Yeah, pretty calm, pretty chill. They're not going to fight because they know it would just lose them the race potentially. It's and then we talk about Mackenzie Roon, who is currently running in 5th. Roon is also a teammate, so 4 of the top 5. I mean, they can lock down this race.
Yeah, they can, and they were to get that 100-point lead on the team standings, and I'm sure it'll, at this point, with the finishes like it is right now, would open up even more so. Now, as you hinted earlier, this is the last week before drop weeks kick in, so the point battle may be a little closer, but if they're going to keep racing like this, 1, 2, and 3, they'll still be in the lead even after drop weeks are kicked in.
Half hour to go. And the first 8 minutes felt like there was so much action. And now the last 8 minutes,
a little quiet, isn't it?
Yeah,
right?
I don't know about this.
There's a pass, speaking of quiet, or attempted pass.
Ooh, Roon. Or is that Mitch Green? Okay. A little bit of a maverick to get involved into the top 5. So, funny story. I think I've told you about Mitch before. I have... Before iRacing and before announcing some of his races, we played some hockey together where the Philadelphia Flyers play multiple times. Ran this event in high school and college where we'd have players. We'd rent out the Wells Fargo Center where the NHL's Flyers play and play hockey, have a tailgate and everything. Well, he was one of those people that were involved in the event. And so happened that I saw him on an iRacing race one day, and we talked, and it was just a wild coincidence. But all this to say, Mitch Green, he's an aggressive driver, and he will try and get moving and interrupt this battle.
Yeah, but we always saw him try to interrupt the battle there, and he did as he got around Mackenzie Roon. He's moved Roon out of the top 5 and put himself in here. Do want to thank you for hanging out and watching along here on RaceSpotTV on Thursday nights. This is the end of the week for PRL action. We'll start back up Sunday night as far as I know, Dylan and I will be here. We'll be broadcasting the race from the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway. Monday night will be LMP2s and then LMDHs. Tuesday night's GT3s. Wednesday night, Dylan will be back with the Grand National Series and the Truck Series. And then I'll be back 1 week from tonight to finish off the week with the Open Wheel Series. So PRL action is on 5 out of 7 nights a week. So there's always some kind of racing to watch here on RaceSpotTV.
Yeah, there's so much going on every day and every night at RaceSpotTV. And if you want to get involved, just reach out to one of us, whether it's, for broadcasting or putting on these broadcasts as a producer. Always looking for more talent. We're always looking to have more people join the RaceSpotTV family. These two are looking to hopefully not join some others in the car graveyard.
Man, they're racing pretty hard side by side here, though, and they're currently up here going at it, aren't they? It's currently going to turns 4 and 5. They're coming through. They'll come down through a small straight here with a bend for turn 6. And right now, that'll put Mackenzie Rune on the outside into turn number 7. But then as we come back around here for turn 8, Rune will have the advantage, I believe, here. Oh, no, sorry. Ian Green will have the advantage here, but Rune gets the pass by anyways, as Ian Green had to lock up the tire.
Oh, a little bit of a wiggle there from Mackenzie Rune, but Green's got to run. It's just, is he able to take advantage of this before reaching turn 12? Maybe. No. Stays behind the gearbox.
Yeah, this is one of the parts of the track I would think is not advised to make that pass, but sometimes if you have a run, you have to take what you can get. But here we are out of 12 and 13, so in the 14, now 15 right here, and this will put you back at the long straight. This is where we want to build that run and try to maybe dive it in here for turn 16 at the end of the straightaway.
Yeah, this is going to be a big slipstream city party, but does he have enough to send it down the inside? I think he took the foot off the throttle just a tad. Knew there wasn't a move going on there, so he's just going to hold it for another set of corners.
Hold it for another set of corners indeed. We're about 20 minutes into this race, and that means we're about halfway. We're getting there, so probably with the next 5 to 10 minutes, pit stops will begin, and that will determine possibly the winner of this race. That's a pretty common theme here in this F3 series, is if you're fast on pit road, you can make things happen. Now, in the back of that shot there, that's J.R. Williams up in P7. So he is trying to have a great night here as well. It took last week off, was on vacation. So welcome back to J.R. Williams to the F3 series. And this right now is the closest battle on track right now, is this battle right here with Rune and Ian Green.
Yeah, and it's put on a fairly decent show right now. I mean, unless Green can get by Rune here, it's pretty much a battle of aggressor versus potentially a little bit more of a passive defensive driver at the moment. Rune doesn't have the speed that teammates Holland Wagner and San Diego have, so being around 7 seconds back of those, maybe a little bit more depending on who we're talking about here. It's just a decent amount of time between them for Rune to really do anything about the leaders. But Green, Rune, they're fighting hard, and I would expect to see pit stops come in fairly soon here at Motorland Aragon. This 18-turn, 3.32-mile circuit. Been a lot of fun.
And we'll wait and see here. And of course, down that long straightaway again here between 15 and 16. Here's the pass opportunity for Green. And now he is going to clear it pretty easily into turn 16. And Rune does not fight it at all. Rune will try to set it up again here as he come around here to the end of the lap and start anew here in just a moment. And I think I heard in the background from my shot, I think I heard some of the sirens on pit road going off for cars entering. So there it is. Actually, I can see it. Greg Seitz already on pit road. So you're right. We are getting close to pit stop time.
Yeah, it definitely seems like some of the leaders are going to go in, but I wouldn't expect any of the leaders, the top 3, to not go in together. Seitz, okay, I like this move. Doing a bit of an undercut here But if there's no tires being added, it's not much of an undercut, you know? The teammates still going to work together. Talking last race about teammates just, you know, almost squashing the hopes of other drivers. This race, yeah, that's that.
Yeah, of course, the difference with Sights would be if he could get himself out of traffic with where he pitted. Maybe he just wasn't happy with the amount of traffic he was in and wants to find some open air. But speaking of open air, there's not much left between David Holland and Connor Wagner. Wagner has closed up this gap here compared to what it used to be. So maybe Holland has backed it off a little bit here to save some gas. But Wagner's about maybe close the gap by about half of what it used to be. And there's Kevin Sandiego in the background. Now, what's different now, by the way, Mitchell Ingrid's up to 4th due to pitting, and he is well back here. But now they're going to passing opportunity. We saw this last time with 2 different cars.
Yeah, let's see if it comes to fruition that it's just kind of a pass between 2 friends of sorts. Not much going on there. I will say for sure, Mitch Green just passed Mackenzie Roon heading down that long straightaway. So these 2 will just, whoever's faster, I think, goes in front of the other by the next corner. No use in fighting.
No use in fighting. The only thing they don't want to do is if they keep swapping these passes like this, they'll eat up a little bit of time. I mean, San Diego's a teammate, so it's okay to let him in, but you still don't want to give up that gap you have. And look at them just racing hard here. They're having fun. And right now, David Holland is still leading this race, and Connor Wagner is working on it, though. That's the second car here in line. With 22 minutes left on the clock, we're officially beyond the halfway point of this Formula 3 race. And right now, it is Holland, Wagner, Green. It's Holland, Wagner, San Diego, Green, and Mackenzie Roon in your top 5. But there's a battle up front again, Dylan. Here they are side by side now down through these corners.
Yeah, still side by side, and I'm actually surprised that they've kind of unlocked themselves to fight a bit. I don't know if this is just a bit of performative fighting, though. Oh!
That's not
performative.
line.
The leader went off track. Connor Wagner completely lost it right there and went into the tarmac runoff area and has lost multiple seconds, not just the lead.
And that's why team managers will tell you not to do that. You probably got busy goofing off and lost your focus and just missed his braking point completely. And yeah, there it is. That'll put him back in 3rd place for the moment, about 5 seconds back. And now San Diego is now up to 2nd place.
All right. Well, Wagner is going to have to put back in that pace that saw him take the pole by almost 3/10 earlier in this evening's event. Only 19 cars are on the lead lap right now, and as it stands, I believe only 21 cars are on track whatsoever.
Yeah, of course, we had a bigger field, but we've had some calamity in the first lap that collected a few cars here. And so we'll have not all of them on track at the end. But man, David Holland is still running away with this. And for the second week in a row, it just right now feels like Kevin San Diego just cannot close that gap, but he's getting closer.
20 minutes to go, so we're past that halfway point for this race. I'm really surprised that Wagner made as big of a mistake there, and I'm really surprised that the teammates were fighting that hard at this point in time. I mean, I guess, hey, you're still racing. You're still racing your teammates. It's still called racing, right? So, just out of character from what we've seen tonight so far.
I mean, out of character from what we've seen from them all season, honestly, in that kind of moment. So, here we are running around here. This would be up into turn 12 is where we're going to be right now. See this beautiful racetrack here. As we said, mostly known for MotoGP racing currently. I think the biggest race they have here throughout the year, Dylan, as far as what we consider to be either GTs or open wheels, would be there's an Endurance Le Mans comes here, I think for a 6-hour race. I think it's already happened this year, but that's the biggest road course race I could find that wasn't MotoGP that happens at this track currently in real life.
Yeah, it's still trying to get some more eyes to the circuit. It'll I feel like the quality of racing is what's going to drive people, but I also feel like because of how open seating this is, it might not, attract as many series as right now I think it hopes, but it's so young, right? So it's got a lot of potential and a lot of different track, map formations here. You can cut some of the, the final corner. There's just a lot of variations to really change up the circuit. This is the Grand Prix circuit. So this is the one that, let's just say Formula One ever came here. This is the one that Formula One or other larger scale four-wheel car racing series would be at. And I specify that because MotoGP is a thing, but two wheels.
Indeed. Big pit stops underway, by the way. Joey Haynes, Takeshi Kita, Alex Court, David Holland, Eric Dubé, and others down pit road. So Kevin Sandiego has assumed the lead for the moment. Obviously, he'll need to come down in the next couple of laps, but we'll wait and see what happened. That's Sandiego there on screen. We'll see how many more laps he can run. He has been not in the draft for most of the race, so I would think not too many more laps would be available to him. David Holland here he is currently in P7 off of pit road and already back on track. So that was probably our biggest group so far of cars who have pitted together. Like I said, many names involved there. So now we'll see if David Holland can run him down or how much he can run him down before Sandiego pits. And see what happens this time for Sandiego or Wagner or Ian Green or anyone else.
I'm not the only one of us who is fairly disappointed with the action in this race coming off of the Suzuka Formula D run.
It's a much different track. It flows different. I think that, the drafting isn't as prevalent here, so maybe not as exciting, but definitely a lot more technical driving happening here. But now there is our leaders on pit road. So here we go all together. That's Ian Green, Connor Wagner, and Kevin Sandiego. And here's David Holland trying to run him down. Sandiego's already off of pit road trying to come back out. Let's see where they emerge here, and let's see what happens. That's going to be tight.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very tight right now, but it looks like Sandiego will have that advantage. Started third in this race, currently leads it. Connor Wagner, though, where is he? He is a little bit farther behind, but he has gained some time on these front two.
And right now, that's interesting to me to think that Sandiego came out a little bit ahead, but it could just be he needs to spend a little less time on pit road, or that he just got a better pit box time off of pit road.
Matter of tenths, right?
Right, and matter of tenths. That's all it takes in this series. We see it every week, where tenths of a second on pit road can win you a race. Right now, Joey Haynes is on a long pit stop down there. That's back there on P16 on the grid on the side of your screen. But Sandiego and Holland really close here as they're now coming down through turns 12. They're not that far for that big long straightaway.
Not far at all, and the slipstream with them being as close as they are. If they come off of turn 15 this close, it should be a pretty solid slipstream in back for the driver currently in second of David Holland, but not the best run off of that slow corner. It looks like Sandiego, for the time being, will still hold it, but comes down to block. Yeah, they're racing hard right now.
I told you these guys love to race, Dylan. There's no team orders. There's no A car, B car, C car, none of that. They're racing hard. Look at them side by side here through that tight corner. And man, David Holland wants around Sandiego. And I'm telling you right now, Connor Wagner already backed within 2 seconds of that battle. He was 4 seconds after he missed his corner. If they keep battling this hard, they might put Connor Wagner back in this battle.
Yeah, absolutely. That could potentially happen. I think Wagner's fast enough on his own to be able to get back, even if they were running, one in one right behind, not side by side. I think Wagner's got that speed, got that pace. We'll have to see if that comes true with 14 minutes to go. He's right there. Yeah, he's back in this battle for sure. But Greg Seitz, his decision to pit earlier, that's not Seitz. Who is running in behind? That's actually Richard Swindells. I got excited for a second. He got lapped this lap.
Yeah, Seitz is P4, but he is currently about 7 seconds back, and so that's a different conversation. So right now, Let's walk you through your top 10. San Diego up front, Holland in second, Wagner's in third, Ian Green's in Seitz in fourth, Ian Green's in fifth, and then J.R. Williams, Mackenzie Roon, Mark McDonald, Scott Barton, who we've not talked much about yet tonight, and Robert Ridgway round out your top 10.
Look at that. Nose to tail. These two are fighting hard. Almost down the inside. Going to be a better run for Holland here. He's definitely closer this time. Going to be in the slipstream. Going to try to make a move. Connor Wagner right there. If either of his two teammates make a mistake. Look at that. Going to the right side is Holland. Defending on the inside is Kevin San Diego. Inching ahead into the braking zone is Holland. But he's not going to have... Oh, they spin! One spins. That was...
San Diego.
San Diego. I think it was of his own accord as well.
I agree. Yeah, I think he's gotten braced a little too hard there and missed a line and looped it around. And that's going to put Holland and Wagner back battling for the lead. And I laughed at myself purely because who would have thought after missing that breaking point about 10 minutes ago that Connor Wagner would be in discussion to do this. Let's watch San Diego again here. Yep, it sounds like he's got on the gas a little too hard. And just...
Yeah, shame for that battle, but we've seen one driver already loop it around. Well, kind of looped it a little bit late, I guess you could say, of the top three, and they've not made any real legible contact, and they've still been in this fight. San Diego's not out of this race right now at all. He is still right there, but Wagner, he's the best example. He's reinvited himself into this battle for the win.
Yeah. Reinvited or forced himself, or whatever word you want to use here, with just about a little under 12 minutes to go. Pit stops are done. Strategy talk is done. Now it's purely about racing hard and racing clean, and that's what's going to happen. Now, Greg Seitz, by the way, has closed a little bit of that gap back there. He's under 6 seconds now, but it's just a matter of the battles that are happening in front of him kind of brought the cars back to him a little bit, I think, but still pretty far back. If we could take a look for a moment, there's some close battles. If we go back to 10th, Ridgway and Verity are fighting pretty hard back there for 10th and 11th. Let's see this battle for a moment. We'll come back to our lead here. Stephen Verity back here in P11, Dylan. He is a new member of the Pacific Northwest, part of Rust Racing Iron, just recently moved to Portland, Oregon. And he has recently made the change from VR to triples. That has got to be a massive racing difference that I can't quite comprehend.
Yeah, you know, I've done a little bit of racing in virtual reality, and while it is the most immersive way to do it, you lack so much in resolution, and then there is that extra time that you kind of have to spend, you know, finagling around in the settings and just trying to get those dialed in as much as you can. And even then, your performance, your computer's performance might take a little bit of a hit when running in VR. So triples, while it still takes a hit with it being 3 monitors, if you set it up properly and get it set up, which again, setup time's annoying, then you got a pretty good secondary solution there with just as good of a resolution as anything on the market. So it's definitely new, and you go to flat screens, but you still have that little bit of peripheral vision working for you.
Yeah, you do, but it's got to be that adjustment of not, you know, doing what you used to do, not turning your head or not doing whatever habits you had in VR must be different in triples, I would assume. But man, he is all over the back of Robert Ridgway here. This is a battle for 10th and 11th going on. It's a little less than 10 minutes to go, and they're having a great run back here. And Verity and Ridgway, they're both running down. That's Scott Barton up in front of them, by the way. If they can stay in line, maybe they can get up here caught for P9th before they start battling.
I guess the real question there is, will they battle? By the way, pass for the lead going on as we head into turn 16. Connor Wagner down the inside. Position not yet given up by David Holland, who cuts back down through 17, both at full speed, going up through 18. They're going to be side by side here all the way down the straightaway.
And Kevin San Diego's like, guys, I've seen this movie before. I know how it could end, but it did not end that way for these drivers right now. And I am flabbergasted to say Connor Wagner is back in the lead at Motorland Aragon.
He just had a little off-track excursion, you know, nothing too much about it, but he won the pole. Oh, look at that, almost getting hit in the left rear by Holland, who instead just sends it down the inside. Will be on the outside on the cutback. Will he still hold position? This is going to be a hard turn in, turn 7. It's still Wagner, but they are running hard.
Wow, look at that wiggle Holland had all the way out of that corner right now. That is tight. That was out of turn 7 is where they were. And that was scary to see that happen. But, you know, from the perspective of, we talk about Yeez Motorsports in the last race in Formula D, when you watch them race this hard and you get scared and nervous, this is why they don't want to race that hard. Because one single mistake could take your whole team out of contention.
Yeah, one mistake can definitely do that. Well, it can take 2 of your teammates out of contention because it always seems like one is just hanging back in case something happens.
Yeah, that's the case here with Delta Sim Sport, but they're running well here. Now less than 8 minutes to go at the track. Connor Wagner leads over David Holland, and then San Diego's in 3rd, and then you got Greg Seitz and Mitchell Ian Green back 10 seconds back in P5. You know, and funny enough, I talked to Robert Woodray before the race started, going back to that topic from a minute ago. Told me he was hoping for a top 10 tonight. That was his goal, and currently that's where he is. So he's right on point with his personal goal and hoping to do better.
Yeah, and trying to do, you know, pretty good, having a solid race right now. And not to take you off topic for a brief moment, Greg Seitz is flying right now. He is flying. I mean, his fastest laps have been set recently. A 151.6 was his last lap. The leader's last lap was a 152.4. He's flying. He's going to catch up to Kevin San Diego in a very brief moment, and then he's pretty much involved in the battle for the win. Could you imagine if he steals one in the last few laps? I think it looks like we went to laps now, not time.
Yeah, laps will be the call here. It usually is close between the two here for the F3 series. About 3 laps left to go here. Greg Seitz may catch San Diego. That gap is closed. He's down now about 4.5 seconds back from the leader. Remember, he was about 7 or 8 after the pit stops, but he's doing great here. So he'll catch San Diego, but that's probably as far as he'll get if he can get to San Diego. But right now, it's Wagner and Holland there on the bottom right of your screen. That's the story right now. These guys have fought for the lead before. They've always raced clean. They have a good time talking about it. But man, this is maybe the closest they've fought and the hardest they have fought so far as a season. Down that straightaway here. And right now, Holland's too far back to make a move here into turn 16.
Yeah, for now, but you still got 2 more tries to go at it, right? As long as you're a little bit closer going into that turn. He's heavy on the brakes, late on the brakes too. Looks like Wagner was a little bit too gentle with the brakes right there.
Yeah, maybe a little too gentle and just, you know, knew he had the space and doesn't want to push it here, of course. One of the things I don't think we talk about enough with these cars is what happens at this point in the race. Now your tires are worn out. There's less fuel in the car. These cars get very hard to manage and to handle in that moment. And with these races being longer than the official races in iRacing, you don't get to practice these conditions too much. So these are very hard cars to handle. So be gentle about it right now and only push when you need to.
Has Seitz fallen off a tiny bit? I'm not sure. Or is that San Diego who's also fallen off? I feel like at this point, San Diego's
Seitz has fallen off a little. Yeah, they're both fallen off. So it could be the leaders are just faster because the gap between Seitz and San Diego is not any different between them. They're just further back from the leaders, I think.
I mean, it's not like the top 2 are in the top 2 positions, right? Same with San Diego running in 3rd, but just good racing right now. And coming into turn 12 and then 13, 14, and 15 before we get to that straightaway, Wagner is right there again, or Holland is right there again with Wagner. Do you want to be in first going on to the last lap, or do you want to be in second in hopes that you can make a big move down the straightaway?
I want to be in first.
I'd say I want to be in first because it's not a given that you can make a move coming down into turn 16. I mean, look how far back Holland is this time. I think he's really going to have to try and make a desperation kind of move earlier in the lap if he wants to get it going, or at the very least send it down here. Watches Wagner makes a bit of a mistake around the exit. Not going to be side by side for too long, but it has opened the door up a little bit as we get to the white flag last lap of this race.
That white flag is out, and man, Holland really just got on the brakes really well there in that final corner and is making a run now through turn 1. He's really wide, and they're going to make the move right here. They're not going to waste any time, and I guarantee they're going to race this whole lap, Dylan. They're not going to let it up at all. So now we're down to turns 2 and now up into 3. And
pass for the lead.
Man, there's the pass for the lead. David Holland's now got over Wagner. Wagner went wide trying to find the next move here.
Yeah, but right there, Holland got a little bit squirrely on the curbs. Wagner back down the inside into 7.
And they're going to pass it. I thought they were going to pass again, but they almost made contact. And here we go again. This is a repeat of last week. We saw the same kind of battle here. But Wagner right now, for the moment, was
look at the switchback.
Oh, there it is. That's the move I thought they were going to make. That's Wagner making the move now back in the lead here. This is turns 9 and 10 right here.
San Diego's only a second behind now.
Yep, that's what's going to happen when you start battling. You're going to let them catch up here. And man, look at Holland all over the back of Wagner here. Maybe a little too aggressive into that corner. This is now turns 12, now into 13 for the final time. Holland's now going to try to make the move on Wagner. Not able to make it yet. Now out of 14, out of 15. Here's that straightaway. If you're David Holland, this breaking point into 16, this has got to be it. Look at how much San Diego's gained, though, trying to break the draft. Now down to 16 for the final time.
Oh, that was a great exit. Is Wagner going to be able to just hold down the inside as much as he can? They're side by side, inching ahead. Holland, the big run on the outside, has the better arch. The right-hand turn kind of blocked him off there as they head up the hill.
Man, Holland almost, I thought, was going to take the back end of Wagner, but he doesn't. And right now, out of the final corners at Motorland Aragon, Connor Wagner will be your winner.
That was a great race at the end. Yeah, what a race at the end. Hey, I guess you did want to be in the lead coming to the white flag, right? Look at this.
Look at this. J.R. Williams here.
Mitch Green holds on to 5th. J.R. Williams will have to settle for 6th with Mackenzie Roon in 7th. Not many battles going on track whatsoever. Everyone is kind of separated by at least a couple seconds, maybe 1 second in the case of those cars, but that's it. It's pretty much all the battles that are still happening on track.
Yep, here's Eric Dubé. Had a rough spin earlier, but still up 3 spots from where he started. He'll finish likely P15 as he comes down to turn 16 for the final time. That'll be someone behind him. I'm not sure who that's going to be. Nicholas Collender behind him. A couple last cars to come around, but man, you know, you wouldn't think those guys are teammates if we took the paint schemes off, the liveries, I guess we call them, in the style racing off, Dylan. The way those guys race for the lead, you'd have no idea they're teammates.
I mean, in the beginning of the race, you definitely knew they were teammates, right? Like they weren't fighting at all. They were just kind of swapping back and forth because it was just the way to get faster. But hey, maybe doing that in the beginning, let them battle it out like that without too much worry that if you went off track, you'd be passed by a guy that wasn't on your team by the end of it. But wow, what a good finish to a race that was otherwise mostly dull, I'd say.
Use the word dull, exciting at times, but let's look at the top results here. Connor Wagner is your winner with David Holland in 2nd. Kevin San Diego and Greg Seitz 3rd and 4th. You got Mitchell Ian Green rounding out your top 5. And then J.R. Williams, Mackenzie Roon, Mark McDonald, Scott Barton, and Robert Ridgway rounding out your top 10, Dylan.
Move it down the order with Stephen Verratti in 11th and Takeshi Kita, in 12th. Alex Court, Christian Jasper, Eric Dubé, Nicholas Collender, James Carter. 17 drivers finished on the lead lap. Richard Swindells and Brett Thurman finished 1 lap down, while Joey Haynes finished in 20th, 2 laps down. Michael Broom had 4, and then everybody else is a number of laps down, involved in earlier incidents. Caleb Lehman, Josh Wachinsky, Jeff Groff, Manuel Vargas, Tommy Brisson, Adam Colasar, Julio Palacio, and Lake Ziti, your 29 runners.
All right. Well, we'll tell you what. Let's just do this. I want to do this. Let's just do this. we're just gonna do this press conference style because I want to hear from all three of these guys at once. Connor Wagner, David Holland, Kevin San Diego. Again, it's 1, 2, 3 for you guys. Again, you're racing like maniacs, pardon the phrase. How much fun was that? I'm gonna start with Connor. Tell me about how much fun that was.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It gets tough towards the end because of the off tracks. So it was like very, very difficult to judge it properly. So David and I were probably giving more room than we deserved for the moves that we were making, just to make sure that we didn't get a 4X, because both of us were super close on off tracks. But it was really good fun, and obviously we all have a ton of respect for racing room and that type of thing. So yeah, it was a great time. A little stressful, but all's well that ends well. So it was good fun.
Before we talk to the others, I have to ask the obvious question. Connor, where were you going back there when you sort of missed your brakes? What were you just like?
Yeah.
What happened?
It occurred to me after I missed the corner that my reference point was a curb, which I could not see because David was next to me. So,
so it's David's fault.
Yeah, we'll go with that. 100% not driver error. He was just blocking my line, so I couldn't see where to brake, and I went straight. So luckily it didn't collect anybody, and with David and Kevin's little battle there, it helped me get back up to him. So
yeah, that was all by design for me, so it worked out perfect.
So David, we'll come to you and ask walk me through the last lap. At what point were you ever confident you were going to hold him off or pass him? There were so many passes, it's hard to say. But what were you feeling there in the last lap?
I wasn't confident in anything. For as much as I was battling, these two guys, I was having an even bigger battle with the car. The back tires, I just completely was over driving. I think, the battling with Connor at first. I even pit a little bit early just to, maybe I could cool him down a little bit. So yeah, anyway, I was battling the car. I wasn't really confident in anything. Going into the last lap, I had 12 out of 13 incidents. So it was just a roll of the dice of if I was even going to make it back to the line with some points today. So I was just happy to finish in P2. It was a fun battle, and Connor had an awesome move there going into the last hairpin. So big congrats to him. He earned it.
Big one. And then Kevin, you led for a little bit off of pit road before getting passed again by first David and then Connor. What happened there? Are these guys faster, or what happens?
I don't know what happened in the pit stop. I definitely was way over, maybe 10 or 15 miles an hour at one point. So I think that helped. Luckily, I didn't get caught. Otherwise, it would have been bad. But it was definitely fun to lead for a little bit. I didn't have anything for David, though. That in the hairpin, I just gassed it too hard and half looped it and lost both positions. That kind of sucked. But it was fun to be up there for a little bit and try and defend as hard as I could, because I know these guys are way faster than me.
That last lap on the racing that hard, how much were you just sort of up on the wheel, just kind of prepared for something to happen?
I was close. I wasn't that far behind. I wasn't sure how hard they were going to box at the end there. So, I could have picked up some scraps pretty quick if that had happened. But, they experts, complete experts up there. And so that didn't happen. And they raced hard all the way to the end, and I got to watch. It was pretty fun.
Well, I know for Connor and David, you guys all three have had a great season so far and have really dominated. You guys would be well ahead in the team points still. Congrats to all three in the top 3, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, guys. See ya.
Yep. Thanks, all. See you.
All right. Well, that is all of Delta Sim Sport all at once, Dylan. That's an amazing run in the top 3 there. So as we now start to kind of wrap up the evening, I'm going to start by asking, what are your thoughts on these 2 races?
First race was a great one. Second race was, a mid-tier race, I guess you could say, but made better with the fighting going on between teammates at the end. All of them wanted to win that race. Just one of them made the mistake earlier on that was able to put him back into that conversation. But nonetheless, it was fun both times, and a nice watch to see these cars at Aragon for the second time in PRL competition.
That's right. Well, next week, these cars will be at VIR, one of the iconic racetracks here in the United States. So that'll start right after the Formula D coverage ends. So right around 9:30 p.m. Eastern time next week here, live on RaceSpotTV. Well, for everyone here at RaceSpot, I want to say thank you. He's been Dylan Coyle. I've been Derek Watson. You guys have been a great audience. Thank you so much. congratulations to Delta Sim Sports on their win and podiums here at Motorland Aragon.